Is that on?
Well, that one either.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
probably turned on really low. Right?
nothing.
Testing, testing, no,
It's not on at all.
not even that one?
Test. Yeah, this one's on. Okay. We call the meeting to order at 6:04. Have roll call, please.
Student trustee Parmigiani?
Here.
Student trustee Byrne?
Here.
Trustee Withrow? Trustee Gonzalez Ewan?
Yeah.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice? Trustee Delphine Polk?
Here.
Trustee Johannes? Trustee Gonzalez Brito?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Trustee Withrow, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all. We have the report on the actions taken in closed session.
Thank you. This evening, in closed session, the board took the following action. On a motion by trustee Quinlan and a second by trustee Napoli Bellarice, the board voted. Oh, so sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. On a motion by trustee Quinlan and a second by trustee Napo Bellarice, the board voted unanimously to non-renew the following positions: the Dean of Allied Health and Public Safety, the Associate Vice Chancellor of Planning and Institutional Research, the Director of Financial Aid, the Director of Human Resource, and the Dean of Student Services. In addition, on a motion by trustee Quinlan and second by trustee Gonzalez Ewan, the board voted unanimously to release the following positions: the Director of ANAPESI, the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs, Math and Science, the Internal Auditor, the Dean of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, the Dean of Counseling and Special Programs, and the Director of Workforce Systems. And that is the end of the report out.
Thank you. Item 3.5, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Any discussion?
Student trustee Parmigiani?
Yes.
Student trustee Byrne?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow? Trustee Gonzalez Ewan?
Yeah.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice?
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk?
Yes.
Trustee Johannes?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito? Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Sorry. Item 3.6, we will now move to public comments. Board Clerk, do we have any public comments for tonight?
Yes, President, we do. We're going to begin with Alejandra Cerda.
Three minutes.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Alejandra Cerda, and I am the Staff Services Specialist in the President's Office at Merritt College. I am here today to urge you to vote no on Resolution 2425-158. While we recognize the challenges our district faces, the resolution should not move forward without a transparent and equitable process that considers the full impact on our students, staff, and overall institutional effectiveness. Classified employees are the backbone of our campuses. They provide critical support services that ensure our students have access to high-quality education in a safe, well-functioning environment. Reducing their numbers without thorough consultation, clear data-driven justifications, and an exploration of alternative solutions risks jeopardizing student success and overburdening remaining staff. Before making a decision of this magnitude, the board must ensure a fair and inclusive process that involves classified staff, faculty, and and student representatives. A comprehensive impact assessment detailing how these cuts will affect student services, campus operations, and employee workloads. Transparent financial reasoning with a thorough review of alternative cost-saving measures that do not compromise student support. We urge you to uphold the values of fairness, equity, and student-centered decision-making. Voting no on this resolution today does not mean ignoring financial concerns. It means ensuring we take the time to make the right decision through a process that truly reflects our commitment to our students and employees. Once again, I urge you to do the right thing and vote no on Resolution 24-25-158. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next, we have Hugh Win. Wei Win.
Hui Win.
Azul Lewis.
Good evening and welcome to BCC. I'm Asul Lewis. I work here. I'm SEIU Chapter Treasurer and Site Steward. I'm here to ask the board to vote no on Resolution 158, eliminating 44 people, more than half of them classified, represented by SEIU. At the last board meeting, I spoke about the uniquely low pay earned by some of our members. I see them on this list: instructional assistants, staff assistants. The more we use cuts at the low end of the pay scale to try to save 10 to 13 million, the more we'll maximize disruption to students and loss of livelihood for employees. Classified layoffs are a blunt tool. They start with one position and can cascade across the district from person to person and class to class. Impacts are hard to predict. As the chancellor pointed out last week, we're in a hard moment of uncertainty. We've been taking cut after cut without having a big picture of how we'll stop the cutting. We're eliminating people and reorganizing without knowing what our future as a district looks like or the strategy to increase district FTEs. FTEs can be about forces larger than the district, demographic change, cost of living, but it also demands the best possible understanding of ourselves and what we can control internally. I've worked for BCC's chemistry department since before this building existed. We're offering the most chemistry sections in the district with some of the least full-time employee support, doing the maximum with what we have. But with the exception of a global pandemic, we've never been able to fully meet student demand for our classes. We've often had to leave chemistry FTS on the table. Our classes fill, and for the next weeks to months, students ask me how to be added to full wait lists. We're short of where we were pre-pandemic, but it's not lack of demand. Some people have asked me why they had to find out about layoffs from places like the Citizen or board doc agendas, rather than from their employer. The union has done everything we can to notify employees ahead of the public, but we were barely notified in advance ourselves, much less consulted. Classified need to be included in the conversations when all options are on the table. Classified need to, sorry, our best understanding as a district of how to move forward to use everything we have to make sure we're never again in future where we are now requires we be in those conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Roberto Gonzalez.
Good evening. President Quinlan, members of the board, Chancellor Gilgerson, my esteemed coworkers, students, and our community members. I also work here at BCC. I am the SEIU publicist and I'm also a steward a site steward for BCC. I want to acknowledge that my children were almost going to be here, but they are watching us on YouTube. Hello, children. I mention them because they are part of our community, and I think what we are considering tonight absolutely will impact their future. I'm speaking tonight to challenge the premise of Resolution 185. Statements like, whereas the Board of Trustees of the district has determined that there is a lack of work or lack of funds due to a reduction or discontinuance of particular kind of services. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the district has determined after public input, of course, that a reduction in force is the only fiscally viable response to the adverse budgetary situation. I want to suggest to you that these are actually false assumptions. There are all other alternatives. We've implemented such alternatives like furloughs when I first joined Peralta. And while not, the solution, furloughs should be considered as part of a temporary solution. We haven't done a deep dive. In some cases, we have managers who manage nobody. We leave FTE funding on the table. There is untapped community partnerships that we can develop. I'm sure you're going to be hearing other suggestions as we hear from others tonight. And yet, I do like parts of the resolution. For example, whereas for the fiscal year 2025-26,
20 seconds.
it is necessary for the district to streamline, and I believe I have people who have ceded their time to me. It's streamline, reorganize, reduce, or eliminate positions in whole or in part. Yes, first and foremost, we need to streamline and reorganize. And while we may disagree on how and when to reduce and to eliminate, these are arguably measures that we need
I'm sorry, that's time.
to act on. Thank you. Thank you very much, Wadida.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Thank you. But we mustn't approve reckless, Doge-like tactics. We must be strategic, mindful of fiscal opportunities and constraints. We must be caring. And all that we do should be based on student-centric decision-making. This resolution is short-sighted. This is not a plan. I strongly urge you to not approve 158 tonight. We still have just over 2 weeks where we can collaborate on a real-time plan that minimizes the pain, that doesn't burn the house down, a plan that minimizes the number of layoff notices on March 15th. We recognize that some people and the families will suffer more than others, but we can and must do better than Resolution 158 as written. We have until March 13th. Let's instead vote on 159 or 160 or whatever it takes, right? So on March 11th, we have a plan that the community can actually get behind. So you all know you all who know who I am, you know how to reach me. So please do so. I'm asking you, I will bring the brightest of our constituents to the table to make this all work. How about assigning some overtime if we still can do? Some of us will even do it for free. So now I will let others speak on this, weigh in on this pivotal decision. But again, I strongly urge you to delay 158. It's not ready for prime time. Thank you for listening.
Next, we have Tom Rizza.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Rizza. I'm the Public Information Officer here at Berkeley City College. And first, I'd like to welcome you all here to campus. Tonight, we put together, I think, a great presentation that shows student outcomes, everything that, all the accomplishments that students have made while here at BCC, and along with those student accomplishments, you will also see and hear from many of the employees here on campus who help make those help to complete those goals. And I just want to point out kind of the dark absurdity of this, that we're going to be seeing this presentation and then also taking a vote that could so deeply negatively impact students' ability to achieve those goals. And I just urge you to vote no on 158. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Emily Segal.
Hello, I'm Emily. Thank you guys for coming today. I'm a classified employee at BCC, and I was also a student. I just want to say that we all come here, all of us come here to do these jobs because we care about our students, we care about our communities, and for that reason, we stay late. We do more than one job. We do things that aren't in our job description because we know that our students need us and we show up. We come here every day. So what I want you guys to consider is that how is it that you're asking us to do even more than we already are doing? How will all of that labor from these layoffs affect people who are already doing more than we're being compensated for? So please vote no on these layoffs, and I'd like to cede the rest of my time to Karen Shields. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Shields.
Good evening, Peralta community. My name is Karen Shields. I've been here at Berkeley City College since 2007. I actually was the first duplicating tech here in 20 years. Vista didn't have it. They saw the need. I filled the void. To say that I've been here almost 20 years, starting as a student, from a student to an hourly to a classified professional, I have dedicated my life to providing service throughout this campus and being of support to students, staff, faculty, and administrators. I have overdid my role here, and to know that my name is on the list for a layoff was very impactful for me because I do have a family that depends on me as well as myself. The impact was so surreal that I went from being a valued member of a team to having now to become possibly gainfully unemployed, opposed to gainfully employed. And suddenly finding myself at a crossroads to where I need to now go back out into this workforce, potentially to reestablish myself. At my age, I'm not too far from retirement, but in the same token, the layoffs would impact me as well as many other classified professionals here to date. We have done everything that we could. In management, speaking of management, the only thing I see that we've managed is to mismanage funds that potentially could have covered these positions that are now possibly being eliminated. And with that being said, I'm very hurt because to be of value and to provide a service where I went above and beyond to make sure this college was fully able to put out what we needed for students to be attracted to come here. I love Berkeley City, but right now, I don't feel the love. And I'm sure this is all out of our control right now, but we do have power to make this turn around. And if you have a slight bit of heart or concern or care for me and my loved ones, as well as the other employees that are facing layoffs, you'll lay off of laying us off and give us the opportunity to shine in another area if you can no longer use our services in the areas that we are now occupying. And with that being said, in closing, I cherish the memories and the experiences I gained during my time here at Peralta as a classified professional. I now face the challenge of navigating an unfamiliar job market and redefining my career path. I'm eager to discover what opportunities lie ahead. With that said, I welcome in new beginnings and clean slates. And in closing as well, I will definitely miss the family I've built here at Peralta Community College District. But I also had an epiphany. I'm not at a loss. PCCD is. Because to lose someone like me is a major loss. And that's all I need to say tonight. Thank you for listening. Drive safely and take care.
Thank you.
Next, we have Nick Sheave.
Hello? Can you hear me? How about now? All right. Hi, I'm Nick Shear. I work at the district. Flying pig, apparently. I'm sorry. I'm usually more eloquent than I think I will be tonight. It's been a long year already. And I'm not even one of the folks who are really affected by what's being discussed. I just want to urge you to, as much as possible, not take cuts out of classified staff, and also to urge better communication, better planning, better transparency. These are things that it seems like increasingly are considered luxuries, when in fact, I think they are necessities. I support alternative measures if possible. If we can do some of this with furloughs instead of people losing their jobs, that's better to me. And I just want to say that my fellow union members have spoken incredibly eloquently, and I really hope that you listen to what they had to say and what they will have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Minerva Perez.
Hi, good evening. My name is Minerva Perez. I work at Laney Admissions and Records. And basically, I'm here to let you know that the department that you are trying to further cut into is already down 2 people. There are a lot of vacant positions. So I feel that we haven't exhausted all of the possibilities. There are a lot of vacant positions that could be gone back to the class and comp study that we were doing, where you can consolidate and reevaluate what we can do. And what mind boggles me even more is that you're trying to cut a position that is currently occupied versus the two that are not occupied. So I just want you guys to know as well that due to the lack of staff, there are over 1,000 emails in backlog. There is over a month's worth of residency that is not getting to. And so anytime that you're going to make a cut, it's not just the person that you're cutting, it's also impacting the entire department. And let's not forget that Laney is the biggest campus. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Margarita Priya.
Hello, everybody. My name is Margarita Pinilla. I'm working right now in College of Alameda, but I was at Laney. When my coworker called me and told me that her position was cut out, I was surprised. I was like, what we did wrong? We were three during the pandemic, working hard, almost 24/7. Did we work too hard? We did too much. Then after the pandemic passed, take almost a year to get our person in the clear position. We went for 3 to 4. Everybody know here who struggled with admissions and records. Laney College during the time. We asked for help. We didn't get it. The stress in the office was crazy. Right now, it's again 4 people. 4 again. And you're telling me they're going back to 3? They're hiring a technician, a person that doesn't have a training to work in an office, and a clerk that has been posted to fulfill. It's the biggest campus. If you look at the numbers, the MIT data, you're going to see the Laney College post most degrees and certificates in the 4 college. In the 4 college. And you're telling me you're cutting in that department? Why? How you're selecting the people that is going to lay off? You're looking what they're doing, or they work, but they help the students? Because to me, you just decided that you don't like the person and the person had to go. You're not telling me that you cut a person in the apartment that only have 4 people, 2 off, and it's right. That doesn't make sense. I don't know who is making the decision, but that is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Nancy Caton.
Good evening. I also work here at Berkeley City College, and my statement is short. I do know that Peralta needs to act quickly and cut costs and save money, but it seems like we might be moving a little too fast, and we haven't given enough thought to the ways that we can do this without putting people out of work. It's a time of great upheaval and confusion in our country right now. Let us not add to it. Please allow additional time before voting on this resolution to consider options, even something like furloughs, so that the cost cutting is spread among many rather than borne totally by just a few.
Thank you.
Next, we have Alejandro Acosta.
Thank you. Hi, board. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So, my fellow SEIU members have kind of said everything that needs to be said. So I'll just add a little bit of context and my opinion as it relates to that. This is resolution 24/25-158. One of the things, like Roberto was saying, that it says on the 5th whereas is that the district has determined after public input. That statement is a kind of laughable, I think. I mean, this has been held very close to the chest by the district until the midnight hour when they presented it to SEIU first in a meeting that was not the subject of that meeting. And then we basically had 3 days to try to get our people to come and talk. I don't know that this proposal has been shared with students. I don't know this, like, what public? That doesn't make any sense to me, right? And then the other thing is not the wording of the proposal, right? But the spirit of it. We're trying to save money. And so just to look at Laney as kind of a microcosm, there's 9 proposed layoffs. I think it's like 11 positions, 9 layoffs. Out of that 9, the largest classification of people, 5 of them, is staff assistants. Staff assistants, or sorry, no, I misspoke. Instructional assistants. 5 of them are instructional assistants. These are people that work in labs that are utilized by students, people who support instruction directly, people on the trenches, in the trenches. They make $59,000 a year. Like, if we're trying to save money, and I would think at the same time trying to minimize impact to instruction, to students, we're cutting the people who work most directly with students, who are the lowest on the SEIU pay scale, except for childcare workers. From what has been shared with us about the content of this resolution and the process that led up to it, it just seems like a really bad plan. And I know that time is short, but the substance of it
20
really
seconds.
leads me to question the wisdom behind it. And I would hope that you guys would question that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vanessa Phillip.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm classified here at Berkeley City College, and I just had a couple of things that I've written out because I'm not a public speaker, but many of the people who've spoken have already covered them. But I did want to say that I strongly recommend postponing voting on this resolution. In the board's own words, whereas the board has determined after public input that the reduction in force is the only fiscally viable response. I do not know how that could possibly be determined when SEIU was not consulted. The positions that are cut are known, but the impact of those cuts are not known. As many people have already said, there will be increased workload for those left behind, those who are already doing multiple jobs, and additional work with that will come with a learning curve, and that learning curve costs time, costs money, and that's what we're trying to save. Also, the board would be cutting positions, but with classified bumping others by seniority, the true impact of programs and departments is unknown because we don't actually know which jobs will be cut in the end. You're basically asking for a blank check to cut without knowing the impact without knowing the full impact at all, which is wild. One thing is for sure, cutting jobs of those with institutional knowledge, like Karen, and those who do a lot of the work will negatively impact student satisfaction and retention, and that has long-lasting effects. You cannot show that the cuts are, quote, the only fiscally viable response without careful discussions with our representatives. Please postpone this vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dana Cabello.
Hello, my name is Dana Cavejo. I am the staff assistant for student services here at BCC since October 2020. I have daily contact with students as I am at the reception desk in general counseling. I bring to this position over 20 years of experience in customer service. As there will be fewer high school students to feed into the community college system, retention of our enrolled students becomes essential, and this requires excellent customer service and student satisfaction. My background also includes work with international students, which are not only an important source of revenue, but who also contribute to the diversity of our student population, which all of us value. As you vote on Resolution 2425-158, I urge you to first prioritize your cuts for managers who earn more and have less direct contacts with the students, and please rethink cutting any classified positions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dolores Harshaw for Diana Fitzgerald.
Good evening, trustees, chancellor, administrators, members of the public, and my SEIU brothers and sisters. I'm Dolores Harshaw. I'm a BCC graduate, and I am a staff assistant with the SAS department. I'm reading this on behalf of my coworker, Diana Fitzgerald. June 4th will mark my 18th year with Peralta in the marketing department, and in my position, which I have held consistently for nearly 2 decades. When I started here and aimed to stay for 20 years, I thought such hard work, dedication, and loyalty would be rewarded. I have come to find out it's not. I couldn't be here tonight because I'm meeting with some folks helping me figure out how to live without my job. I have the highest seniority of anyone in my department, and it falls on me to keep our operations going, which are complex because it includes the TV and radio stations. What's more, 18 years ago, I created the infrastructure our department operates on because none existed when I was first hired. I don't know how it would be cost effective for departments across the district to lose the individuals with a decade or more of experience who know what's going on and can actually root out waste themselves. Wouldn't it be more expensive to leave those positions vacant and the work undone? Is it really a savings to replace us all with inexperienced staff who don't know the history of the department or the vast knowledge fellow classified like myself with years of experience have inside our heads? In my case, I can answer questions immediately. I don't have to go searching for answers. I wanted to retire at 20 years, then come back as a part-time retiree to train my replacement so that the TV and radio stations would remain on the air and the marketing side of the department could continue to run smoothly. If that can't happen and the department is suddenly left with no support, I don't see how efficient you think it would be for the video producers, photographers, graphic designers, and web developers to have to put their work aside to try and order their own gear or prepare their own contracts or become the person everyone wants to go to when they need to know the intricacies and history of how things work at Peralta. To know that Peralta doesn't want me or value my work after nearly 18 years is very demoralizing. Please think carefully about how you are treating people in the name of cost
20
savings.
seconds.
That cost may be too high. Delay voting on 2425-158.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jeff Sinceri.
Hello. I won't take up too much of the board's time or anybody else here. I know that the people that have been up here so far have spoken to the issue much more eloquently than I could. But I will reiterate that even though the budgetary troubles we know have been discussed for quite some time now, the what of it all could have been maybe a little bit more collaborative. I think that working with Classify, you would have found an energetic and committed partner in mapping out ways to climb out of this situation. You know, we've known that this part happened quick, you know, and even tonight I hear suggestions of alternatives that sound quite reasonable to me. You know, I think those suggestions would have been good to hear, you know, somewhere along the way when these kind of proposals were put together. Again, it's the what of it all that I'm kind of concerned with is, you know, the not being kind of consulted or talked about as it's kind of happening. Because again, I know that these people here are very, very interested in finding solutions, not just for themselves, but also for our students and for Peralta in general. So I'm hoping that you guys will at least think very hard and reconsider. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sylvia. Jamil Tier.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, members of the public, colleagues. I'm here tonight on behalf of SEIU. You've heard from several of our members tonight about the impact of the cuts that you are considering. You've heard from folks with 5 years, 10 years, 18 years, who have all come here day after day to serve not only themselves and their families, but also their students. I'm not going to speak for very long because you've heard from folks who are actually directly impacted. But I urge you to listen to their words, to think about their families, and to think about the impact they've had on students. What kind of historical knowledge are we losing if we're laying off someone with 18 years? If we're laying off someone who's worked at each of our campuses? What does that say about our priorities? I urge you tonight to think about what you're doing and to postpone this vote until we've had a conversation about it, a true and transparent conversation about how this affects not only our members, but also this college district. I urge you to vote no on 2425-158. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mark Lispy. Mark Lispy.
Hi, I am part-time faculty at Berkeley City College. Came in the same year as Karen Shields. I'm part-time committee of the Peralta Federation of Teachers, and I'm just here to show support for the classified staff and positions that are being cut and express my opposition to what I think Roberto characterized accurately as a completely Doge-like tactic, which is, you know, maybe it's not Doge, but it's the Department of Peralta Efficiency, in the sense that, you know, first of all, this has been an endpoint that's been in design, where you cancel classes, where you cancel classes at the last minute, shove people into more and more crowded classes. This has been a guaranteed strategy of shrinking enrollment to arrive at a position that we're at today. And now to see that part of the solution is to lay off valuable people who've been here and to tell them, in essence, implicitly, that like the Department of Government Efficiency, you haven't demonstrated your job as being worthwhile because we're going to erase your position and just dump that work onto others without any consequence, as if there's no work that they've been doing to begin with. I think it's Doge-like in its arrogance. It's Doge-like in its rushed nature. The idea that we were put more money into a rainy day fund, to be adding more funds into a rainy day fund equals more cuts. The idea that this is somehow a strategy of putting students first, it's none of these things. And I think that to see this taking place on the federal level and to see it now bearing fruit on this local level. It's a guaranteed downward spiral of decreasing enrollment. You're going to decrease the student services. You're going to decrease more classes. None of this is a solution. None of this is a financial solution, and none of this is a solution to putting students first. And I think in this last minute, the last thing I want to say is I think that for the rest of us in the community, faculty, staff, students, all of us together, regardless of how the board votes, and I urge you absolutely to vote with a conscience, to vote with your eyes wide open, to vote with imagination and vote no on this resolution. But the rest of us, this period that we've entered, right, of austerity, of budget cuts, right? It doesn't have to end. We live in the wealthiest state in the country. There's plenty of funds. You vote no, you give us some time to build up a force. There's no reason the funding formula at the state level has to stay this way. It can change, it can fluctuate, it can respond to pressure if we're able to mobilize, right? This is not the only way to do this, and it certainly doesn't need to be done today. And so I urge you to show us, demonstrate that this
5 seconds.
Impatience that you want to demonstrate here today, you can withhold it and vote no on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jane Fong. To who? Vicenta Espedas? Kinga Sidzinski.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Good evening, President. Okay. Oh, good evening, President Quinlan, Vice President Gonzalez-Brito, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Gilkerson, presidents and guests. Once again, the Peralta District is overlooking the contributions of classified professionals and penalizing them for their dedication and hard work. Many of us work in departments that previously had 5 or 6 staff members, but now have only 2 or 3, and in some cases, just 1. Despite this significant reduction in personnel, managers expect us to maintain the same level of productivity as if we had the original number of employees. Classified professionals work tirelessly to fulfill their jobs and responsibilities by providing the necessary support for our students. They often take on tasks and requests not in their job descriptions to ensure timely assignments and deliverables are successfully completed. Additionally, due to staff shortages in specific departments, some employees who had approved vacations from their managers were contacted by their managers and asked to return to work before their vacations ended. Yet, you are now considering eliminating 33 positions from employees who have contributed significantly to Peralta. This proposal for a layoff is a disparaging act against classified professionals who have worked to serve Peralta and the learning community for years. In addition, the proposal to lay off classified professionals is an insult to classified professional homeowners who live in Alameda County because their parcel taxes increased due to bonds the Peralta Community College District received in 2006 with Measure A and in 2018 with Measure G, all totaling $1,190 million in bond funds. They were some of the very same voters who approved those bonds because they wanted the best for Peralta. Now you want to cause additional hardship by laying them off after they have sacrificed their income to make the Peralta Community College District a better institution. Have you considered other ways to reduce the deficit, such as furloughs on every Friday or removing consultants? We implore you to reconsider this proposal and recognize the value of classified professionals to Peralta and our learning community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That is all the public comment we have for tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Item 4.1, consider approval of the voluntary resignation incentive program. Can I now get a motion to approve item 4.1?
So moved.
Is there any discussion on this item?
Can I clarify? When it says voluntary resignation, does that mean that like it's discussed with the other people, with the other party?
So voluntary resignation incentive means that employees have the option to opt in. So this is a negotiated item with each of the bargaining units. Tonight in front of you is one for Local 39. So again, members who meet the criteria would voluntarily be offered the option to do the resignation incentive and then could take it or not.
Any other questions or discussion? Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chancellor. Is this working? No sound. All right, I'll just speak up. Chancellor, could you clarify for the public what we're doing here with this voluntary resignation incentive, and how it fits in with a broader strategy and why we're doing it? Because I think some members of the public aren't exactly clear about what we're doing tonight in general. And I think it would be helpful to understand in a more comprehensive way. And I know you've explained this in multiple forums. Yes, no? I know you've explained this in multiple other forums, but I think nonetheless, just going over it again would be helpful.
So I appreciate the question, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen. So what's before the board tonight, and we discussed last week, what was in front of the board last week was a multi-strategy, pronged strategy to do two things. One is to meet the impending reduction that we have before us for next year, which is anywhere from $11 to $13 million. I will offer just as a point of reference that we just recently got the P1 report from the state chancellor's office, which is increasing the deficit factor to us, meaning they're holding back more funds than we anticipated they were for this academic year. So we are in a very volatile situation. We've come to you before about these things. We are trying in a short-term strategy to take reductions so that we can actually meet next year's budget, and then giving us runway to allow us to actually re-envision the community college district and our colleges and the way in which we center and serve students. And the resignation incentive is a piece of that longer term strategy, was to offer an incentive and opportunity for folks who have 20 years of service or other to be able to voluntarily resign. That resignation incentive would hopefully gain a certain amount of dollars that we would be able to use to stave off the cuts that are slated for the next year. So again, we have 25, 26 reductions that we are looking at. If you've looked at the long-term budget analysis, we have cuts that will come the next academic year. And so the idea here is if we can get some savings through the voluntary resignation incentive, it would mitigate some of those reductions that we'll have to take in the out year in 2 years. Additionally, ideally, what those dollars would do is be able to help us reinvest in the places where we know we need to reinvest. So in areas like in instruction and services and positions that actually make sense for 21st century students learning and the kind of programs and services that we need now. So this is part of that multiple strategy for long-term sustainability and the ability for the district to reorient itself and reimagine what it looks like.
So to clarify, the resignation incentive isn't dealing with the budget reductions we're going to need right away, the $11 to $13 million, but is part of a longer term strategy so that we're not looking at making emergency cuts at the very last minute. This is part of a multi-pronged, long-term strategy of budget reductions. All right, thank you.
Any other comments or question? No.
Student trustee Parmigiani,
Yes.
student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow, trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Valerice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito, trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 4.2, consider approval of resolution number 24-25-158 for a reduction in force. Can now get a motion to approve item 4.2.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
This week, I think it's not working. Oh, thank you. We heard a lot this week and in the last board meeting about investing in our students, increase enrollment in order to be more sustainable and avoid financial decisions like the one we're making tonight. And I wonder if you can speak to your strategy around increasing enrollment and investing in students to be able to ensure that Peralta is more sustainable over the long term.
I appreciate the question, Board Vice President Gonzalez Brito. So a couple of things that a way I would contextualize sort of what the issue is. So we've had over $27 million in cuts since 2020 to Peralta's budget, where we have been slashing and slashing and slashing sort of indiscriminately on the back of what I think is the schedule, the classes we offer directly to students, the pieces that we do in these areas. And so what that has done is actually constricted the district in a lot of ways and spread thin the ability for us to actually meet the needs of our community and actually seed programs and services that actually make sense for the students today and the type of students that we see in our demographic profile in our areas that actually need college education and support. And so what's happened is with those cuts being done in these ways, it really hasn't been, frankly, as transparent as possible to everybody about how this has happened. It's come off of vacant positions. It's come off of reductions to the schedule on the backs of faculty, part-time faculty in addition. And so in order to actually grow in the right way, we need to invest in the right sort of investments in classes and programs and services that are doing those. But the problem is that in our district, we have had a culture of competition between the colleges. So we have not had a comprehensive enrollment strategy that encouraged departments across the 4 colleges to work together so they weren't scheduling against each other. We have done traditionally a rollover schedule, and this is no fault to anybody. It's difficult jobs, right? But we have multiple departments that may have similar disciplines that, again, how are we looking at student enrollment trends and what they need? And we really have had a budget allocation model that actually has consistently actually reinforced this model, where we are, again, pitting the colleges against each other and the district service center versus sort of coming together to act together in a real fashion. And I think now the hard question really is we're at a point where we really need a new model that really encourages cooperation without the kind of competition that we've ultimately had and has been really harmful to the district. And I think there is a really powerful incentive to the colleges, right? If we consider, how we're expending our funds and where we're doing it and where we can actually do things better. So the idea here now is that we're beginning that process of actually having these discussions, beginning through our governance process to talk about these items, looking and investigating all together on these questions. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we can go out and also achieve new students. We can go out and reach into the community. You've heard me speak publicly about the data on high school graduates, on what's happening in the districts, K through 12 districts around our communities, what we need to do to shore up adult learners, dislocated workers. Those particular areas are areas where we're doing small things, but how do we think about it more robustly? I think also I want to remind everybody that it's student-centered funding formula, and we've given multiple public presentations at every college here to you all trustees, that the total computational revenue is not just based on seats, butts in seats alone. It's about accomplishments, about actually getting to degree completion, and we have work to do. Frankly, if you look at our data on degree completion and like completing English and math, doing all of the metrics that are part of the student-centered funding formula that actually help fund us. So it isn't just to go out and get new, it's actually how do we actually create and develop more services and support that actually help students get to their goal completion. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're working. We've even created a new student success and enrollment management committee at the district-wide level. Through our governance process, we'll begin investigating many of these questions. Certainly was at our planning and budget committee meeting recently where they've been having these conversations about how we begin to rethink the way we have been doing business regularly, and then certainly engaging with our constituency groups to help get feedback in and back and forth from our constituency groups and the colleges governance committees. Much of this work also should happen at the colleges, right? So again, colleges having conversations about the programs and services that they need for their individual colleges to come together for a district-wide conversation about where we can actually seed together and be able to collaborate more, or areas that we can do other things. We've also done a huge new enrollment marketing strategy that has been over the last several years, robust sort of enrollment support, new websites for the district colleges, really trying again to get the word out about our institutions in multiple ways. And we have outstanding folks in our outreach areas and in our marketing communications areas who've really been helping seed the message. So it is a multimodal strategy that is being sort of helped and undergirded and supported by our governance process.
Just want to acknowledge the pain that we hear tonight, the dedication of our staff here at Peralta Community College, and just you have a vision for where we need to go and where we need to reinvest, but the decisions we're making now are extremely painful for people, and so I just want to acknowledge that. I don't have much else to say except that, we're hearing you. To all the staff who spoke tonight, we hear the disappointment, the frustration, the dedication that you have to the district. So yeah, thank you.
Trustee Johannes?
Thank you, VP Gonzalez Brito, for saying that last portion. That's sort of what I wanted to speak on. This is a tough decision all around. These are people's lives. We're very, very aware of that. And it's not because we don't care. I want to make a comparison. So I know we have some veterans out here on the board as well as in front of us. Okay. As far as me being a veteran, I was going to make a comparison saying, when you're in basic training, you learn a little bit of some combat sort of medic type skills. When you're wounded in combat, something happens to your leg is now bleeding, right? What do? You clean the wound, you dress the wound, you hope everything's all right. But then what do you do if it's still bleeding? That's when you learn to apply a tourniquet. You take a stick, you take a piece of cloth, and you tie it as tight as possible to ensure the bleeding stops. You have now saved your life, but what happens? Your leg is gone. It has stopped the bleeding, you have to remove the leg. Not because the leg stopped working, you hated your leg, you love your leg, you want your leg.
But in order to continue living, it must go. We're not saying that we don't value you. This is, and we didn't just get shot or wounded. We're kind of like frogs in hot water and like, oh my God, it's boiling now. What do we do? That is just what happened, and we acknowledge that as well. But this is what we must do in order to keep Peralta as a unit. This is, if not today, in 2 weeks, right? As Roberto Gonzalez mentioned, hey, we have 2 weeks to discuss. It's still going to happen, some form, some way or form. It doesn't mean we don't value you. It just means we value the students and the education and the system that we have here that we'd like to continue. And in addition to that, I'm not saying, hey, take it, it is what it is. On a personal note, I mean, I know I shared a lot last meeting, but here we go again. This happened to me last year, except we didn't have a public meeting. My college is a private institution. We just knew that we were going, there was going before the board, and we had to cross our fingers. Guess what? Didn't work. We all lost our jobs. I lost my full-time job last year exactly in this same manner. I'm not saying it's okay, but this is what happens. That school's still open. I'm not there, but it's a tough decision, and we feel it even though we're sitting here straight-faced. We understand. Things need to get done.
Any other comment?
Maybe again, hearing all of the comments, I just want to reiterate something that was published and discussed at our February 11 meeting, because there seems to be a little confusion about it, but it doesn't minimize, again, the impact. I understand. So when on the February 11 agenda, there is a table. And for SEIU, the impact of the affected positions is 8.2%. The impact to PFT is 0.6%. The impact to Local 39 is 10.4%. The impact to confidentials is 17.9%, and the impact to administrators is 27.8%. So, and of those positions, 24 are vacant. And again, this is incredibly difficult. None of us here, and our administrator and their chancellor, this has been talked about repeatedly. So none of this is happening overnight or quickly without much rumination. But I'm just saying those categories and those percentages to, on some level, communicate that there are many people being affected for sure. And I think I had heard that administrators or people with higher salaries weren't being affected. Everybody across the board is being affected. And it doesn't minimize the humanity. Those percentages do not truly make clear the humanity of each person, absolutely. But I wanted to at least give you a sense that this table is here. We've thought about it for a long time, and this has been presented in a multitude of different ways in a variety of different venues.
Hi, my name is Sophia. I am one of the student trustees, and I first wanted to say that I think we should have great respect for the chancellor because she's being put in a very difficult position. And so I can see how she's trying to make big moves for the students here at our college. And this is something that she's picking up from past management. So although we're seeing this now, we do have to realize also that we've had a budget crisis for a while. And so if this is what happens to be the solution, then it does come with a heavy heart that this is being made. but I also wanted to explain my reasoning for how I feel about the situation. Um, so originally I felt that students wouldn't be directly impacted by these workers, but actually I also work as a student ambassador here at Berkeley City College. So I'm also helping students with enrollment and know a lot of the staff in different departments. And I actually knew one of the people who spoke, Miss Karen Shields, and I cannot vote yes on this matter because I know her impact on the community. So, yeah, I wanted to just mention how I can see now, especially being personally affected by this, how this could also personally affect the people who are at risk of losing their jobs as well, and for all of their hard work in this position. And so I'm voting no because not that this may just be something that we have to accept with the budget crisis, but if people are feeling that um, they would like more explanation behind this and you know, they still want to have discussion, I believe that that should be done. And also, I'm also part of the Student Success and Enrollment Management Committee. So I know there is work being done um, to consolidate the departments and trying to have a less competitive um, uh, Peralta district. So there is work being done, but that's my reasoning, and thank you.
I just need a second. Hello, everyone. My name's Pierce Byrne. I'm a Berkeley City College student here for 3 years, and I want to start by saying that I trust this board, I trust their vision, I trust the chancellor, but I just can't, on good conscience, vote yes on this matter, due to the fact when I moved here 3 years ago from Ireland, from away from my family, and I was greeted by open arms by these faculty members. Some like just like Sophia, I was given the privilege of meeting Karen Shields and working alongside her as a student ambassador. And I've also, and like someone previously mentioned here tonight, our workers are spread thin. They are doing way more than they should be, and I do think they are very valuable to our district. Sorry, I'm very to our district as a whole, and I do think that we need to reconsider how we go forward from here. I remember a couple of months ago, someone previously told me that the sky has already fallen in our district, and it really has. Our district is, when it comes to budget cuts, I personally can't wrap my head around the budget cuts because I hear so many different things every other day, and so I think if we extend time, if we just reassess how I think if we can take a little bit more time to look over our strategies, it'll be better not just for our classified staff, but for our students here in Peralta. So thank you. I'm voting no.
I want to echo much of what was said on this board. These are not decisions that we make lightly. These are things that I've personally thought a lot about. And I have a question for the chancellor. I know a couple of times, the last couple of meetings, the discussion of consultants has come up as a way of perhaps trimming the budget. Can you speak to that at all? Or, the use of consultants with the district of, lowering our budget and stuff like that? if you have anything to add about that. If not, it's okay. It's something that I've heard in the last few meetings.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Delphine Polk. Could you just clarify? I'm trying to
Sure.
understand exactly what you're
Some
asking.
of the, so in the last couple of meetings, people who in public comment and outside of public comment have asked about the use of consultants and how that's been impacted with looking at the budget.
Yeah, so as part of the reduction strategy that's going forward and over the last several years is cuts to the discretionary budget. So across the colleges, they're taking a 15% reduction in discretionary budgets, as well as the district service centers covered additional cuts both this year and next year. But what we've tried to do is absolutely as much as possible mitigate the use of consultants, really reduce our footprint in that area, look for efficiencies. So one of the public presentations I've given is around the fact that we use multiple outside organizations, sometimes not actually leveraging our own buying power in the district. So that is something that we did with energy costs, having multiple energy contracts for each of the colleges, bringing that all together under one umbrella to get a better, better cost for the district. So we're looking at all of these areas as part of the reduction strategy, and certainly the use of consultants is one of them.
So I feel people's pain. I've been in this position before. I've lost my job a couple of times. And you have every right to feel the pain. You have every right to be angry. You did nothing to bring this on, it was done over the past 10, 15 years. If you go through 2019, the state came in, the Financial Accountability Group, to look at our district. And if you read that 2019 FCMAT report, I just read through it when we started this process. It was terrifying. The things that were going on in this district. That time we had 7 vice chancellors. We had 1 electrician in the entire district. We needed more electricians and fewer vice chancellors. What's being done now is trying to correct that. We had a lot of HERF money come in. Where that HERF money went, we have no idea. When we were up in Sacramento a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to people. They were putting in their reserves. They were paying off debt. They're putting in their reserves so they could run more classes than they were actually budgeted for. We didn't do any of that. So what's happening now is a reckoning of what happened in those days. And we need to move forward now. And I really salute our chancellor. It takes courage to do what she's doing. And again, whatever pain you're feeling, whatever anger you're feeling is completely justified. And, but we need to change this district. If we don't, the state's going to come in and they'll do whatever they want to do. There won't be a chancellor, there won't be a board, and that is not a situation we want to be in. Chancellor, it's all you want.
Thank you. I look around this room and I recognize this is brutal. This is really brutal. This is hard. I also look at the budget numbers and they're pretty brutal. If we don't cut somewhere between $11 and $13 million for next year, we're going under. We're not putting money away for a rainy day. We reduced our reserve requirement from 16% to 8% so that we could spend that money to pay down debt, to invest in areas that will allow us to grow. We are doing everything we can figure out how to do. Look, I've been on this board for 20 years. I'm a faculty member in another district for 35 years. I'm a union leader. I have mentored thousands of students. I look at this board and I look at my colleagues and I look at what it took to get us here to this place where we could make really hard decisions. I've served on this board for 20 years, and most of that time I've been in the minority. I've lost a lot of votes. I lost votes on budget reserves. I've lost votes on hires. But right now, I'm part of a very competent board. We represent our communities. We're not career politicians who are just trying to scheme and scam. That's not what's going on here. We worked really hard to be able to bring an amazing chancellor to this district. Somebody who I think anybody who has met her understands she has integrity, she has honor, she's just got amazing heart. The decisions we're making today aren't because we are callous. It's because we really care about this community. We have a vision for this district, for our colleges, of what we can be. And if we do not do something dramatic and hard, we are all going under. That's just the truth. Now, look, maybe there are other decisions we could make. Maybe. But frankly, we don't have a lot of time. The decisions that we're going to make tonight will buy us a year. And then the following year, we're going to have to make some even harder decisions. We're going to have to figure out some big structural changes. And that is going to take us all. Really, 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 it's going to take us all. At the end of the day, look, we're accountable. At the end of the day, we're the Board of Trustees. We represent the community. We're elected to do this. We hire a chancellor who gives us recommendations. So yeah, if you've got to be mad at somebody, I guess you can be mad at us because the buck stops here. I get it. The buck stops here. I think in the coming year, though, we've got to come together and figure this out because we're not done tonight. This just buys us a year, really. So be pissed. Yeah. Be pissed about what's going on locally, be pissed about what's going on nationally. But at the end of the day, we're not each other's enemies. That's not what's going on here. It may feel like that. It may feel really personal. I get it. This is hard. And I'm sorry. But I'm going to vote yes. Because I don't feel like I have a choice right now. It's do it now or go under. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the board? Call the question.
Student trustee Parmigiani,
No.
student trustee Byrne,
No.
trustee Withrow, trustee Gonzalez Ewan, trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
the trustee Delphine Polk. Shh, please, trustee Delphine Polk.
Sorry, can we have order here, please?
Yes. Trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito, trustee Quinlan,
Yes.
motion passes.
We're ready to proceed with Berkeley City College's presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Board President Quinlan. We're now excited. We're here at Berkeley City College, and we're excited to have Berkeley City College's presentation to the Board of Trustees. I want to invite President Dr. Denise Richardson to go ahead and lead the presentation.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chancellor Gilkerson, Board President Louis Quinlan, trustees, fellow presidents, colleagues, students, and members of the community. Welcome to Berkeley City College. We're excited to share some of the great things that are happening on our campus. But I first want to acknowledge the incredible team of leaders here at Berkeley City College. VPI Chris Lewis, VPSS Shears, please stand. Our VPs, we work together closely to accomplish many of the great things that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. I'd also like to acknowledge my other administrators in the room, if you would please stand at this time. I'm not going to call you by name, but please stand so that you can be seen. Joining me now are our Classified Senate President, Tom Rizza, also our PIO, and our Academic Senate President, Matthew Freeman. And they stand with me tonight, and I am very proud to lead Berkeley City College in collaboration with these gentlemen. And so I'm going to give them an opportunity quickly to just share a word of greeting.
Thank you, President Richardson. As was noted, my name is Matthew Freeman. I'm the president of the Academic Senate here at Berkeley City College, and I also teach political science here at BCC. I've been here since 2009, and on behalf of the faculty here at Berkeley City College, I would like to welcome everybody to BCC and honor our work and our accomplishments as a college as we recognize the complexity of this moment and sort of call out and realize the mixed emotions that we are all feeling uniquely at this exact moment. I would also like to challenge us to think about our future and embrace what we have in front of us and the hopeful future that we hope to turn toward as a college and as a district. And so on behalf of the BCC faculty, welcome to this incredible college where we work to transform lives and have our own lives transformed in that journey.
Thank you, Matt.
Hello, Board of Trustees. I'm Tom Rizza. I'm the Classified Senate President. Not going to take up too much time. Just wanted to welcome you here. And like I said earlier, we have a great presentation to show you of our students' accomplishment and all of our great staff and classified staff, faculty, and administrators who made it all happen. So, welcome.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you both.
With a spring 2025 head count of 7,049 students, Berkeley City College ranked second in the district. One building, 7,049 students. The last time we had a head count of over 7,000 was 9 years ago in 2016. We're excited about that here at Berkeley City College. Our spring 2025 enrollment of 1,465.5 FTS is higher than we've seen since 2020. So we couldn't be more excited to see our students coming back to us in full force. Additionally, in fall 2023, BCC ranked fourth among all 116 community colleges for transfers to UC institutions. Thank you. That comes with an impressive 41% admit rate and 83% enrollment rate. These achievements are not accidental. They are all rather intentional, but they are the collective efforts of every member of the BCC community, and I could not be prouder of our team and of our students. I would like to transition to the next slide, please. Over the past year, we've engaged in a very collaborative and fruitful process of updating our mission, vision, and values to better reflect our commitment to providing students with an excellent education, but also a sense of belonging. And while transforming lives is a big part of our cultural identity here at BCC, what we wanted to emphasize with our revised mission is that that transformation not only occurs for our students, but it occurs for all of us. Every educator, every person here at BCC is transformed by this process of education that we cultivate here on our campus. Our new vision, next slide, please. Envision, engage, excel. We love this. And the reason that we love this is because it describes the agency that our students have in creating their own paths forward. The values, next slide, please. The values that guide us are rooted in our dedication to equipping students with the knowledge and skills that they need to be successful, not only now, but into the future. Next slide. Now, of course, we would have had a bit of drum roll if we could have. We're excited to introduce to you for the very first time our new mascot, the Berkeley City College Owl. Many of us are affectionately calling it OLLI, which stands for peace in Latin. If ever there was a time we needed peace, it is now. And so we hope that OLLI will bring more of that to us here at Berkeley City College. The image you see here is the collaboration of one of our very talented students, Yuna Kim, and our very own Marcus Krill. So we want to thank them for the wonderful job that they did in helping us create this image of OLLI. Finally, we would like to dedicate this evening's program to retired classified professional Victor Flint, who passed away February 5th. Victor Flint was a student personnel services specialist from 2006 to 2013 when he retired. During that time, Victor taught students to dream big, and they often thought of them as a father figure as he filled an important gap for many of them. Thank you for being with us here tonight. Well, next, we have a short video featuring a few of our amazing programs and some of the perspectives of our students. Thank you very much. And we move now to the slide presentation. Tom, is the slide position cued? It's coming. Alrighty. Thank you for your patience.
Kim. At Berkeley City College, we inspire students to envision bold futures, engage in meaningful learning, and excel beyond expectations. Fall 2024 was a season of breakthroughs, with students making waves inside the classroom and beyond. Our multimedia arts program created Chills with Night of the Living Dodo. This spooky short film, made by students Yuna Kim, Rocket Selam, Dorothy Abuan, and Will Letchworth, earned global recognition, winning second place in the Vive Mars Best Horror Shot competition, competing against teams from China, Europe, and India. These students used motion capture and 3D animation to push the boundaries of horror storytelling.
It was a bit of a challenge for me coming from a 2D background to adapt to 3D workflows, but I feel like through what I've learned at BCC and what I learned doing projects like this one, I feel a little more better prepared for future projects. So I'm looking forward to continuing on my education and eventually finding my way into my desired career path.
This achievement did not just bring recognition, it brought valuable equipment to Berkeley City College thanks to the RVPA internship program. This program, sponsored by the California Community College Foundation, helps students earn while they learn. In science, Berkeley City College shined at the CERM conference at USC. Students Olivia Doyle, Kay Emanuel, and Fitzum Tesfamichael gave standout presentations, making BCC the only community college with multiple speakers in the workshops. This event highlights the role of community colleges in advancing innovation in biotechnology.
For the CERN bridges, like there's only 3 community colleges that have this internship program, and out of us, like BCC had the most invites for talks. And it was very interesting to go to the talk sessions, and you have all these people like doing PhD at UCLA, San Diego, all the big UCs, you know, UC Merced, and then suddenly BCC. And then we had 2 BCC in a row present that day. So that was really cool.
I had an opportunity to work with scientists and had my own project and gained skills in labs, and also had the chance to present my research project at CIRM conference.
Just being there surrounded by all the other CERM interns, it was really nice because you could see like what other schools are researching, like, or you can meet people who had like something similar to yours. So it was just really nice seeing like this is all possible thanks to them, right? But I mean, I want to do CERM internship again when I transfer over to SSA.
Back on campus, the STEM Luncheon brought students and professors together to explore courses, clubs, and career opportunities.
It says a lot about a community college that like the professors and the chairs of the department are coming down to talk to students and meeting them face to face and meeting them where they're at and saying like, hey, come take these classes, and like we will guide you, we will train you to give you the hands-on experience to get you to the next level. If it's putting you through an internship, if it's transferring, if it's applying to graduate school.
It was a milestone event for the MESA program, which celebrated its first full cohort of STEM students.
So MESA stands for Math, Engineering, Science Achievement. It is a program for underserved students that are pursuing a calculus-based STEM major. The idea is to close that equity gap that we know exists so that students don't give up on their dream of pursuing a career in a major in science. One of the biggest events we did this semester was go to the SACNAS conference in Arizona. We took 5 students, and it was an amazing conference for undergraduate, graduate students. I feel like there was close to 4,000 students that attended this conference. It was massive. A lot of learning happened, a lot of networking. Students were able to connect with other MESA students in the different community colleges in California. We'll have 4 functioning MESA programs at the 4 colleges. And in my view, my ideal is that any student, whether their home campus is BCC or College of Alameda or Laney or Merritt, they should all feel welcome to walk into any of the centers to get that support that they need.
It was a great experience. We got to meet people across all California, even outside of California from other states, and even like Puerto Rico. It was a great experience meeting, more people like you, especially because they were people of color, and you get to get involved and like seeing that it's actually possible. It was an amazing experience. Being on MESA, being on Puente, UCRC, BCC in general, all the resources as an HSI, they have helped me to like start learning how to navigate resources and how to connect with people who actually want to help you as a Latino in STEM.
We are proud of our students' achievements and can't wait to see what's next. This is the BCC Pulse, your community in action.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Oh, it works. I'm like, I just realized I'm wearing the same outfit as I did in the video. I'm like, oh no. But it's because I really love the logo with the Berkeley City College at the top. So I was invited to, or Buenas noches, Board of Trustees. I was invited to share a little bit about the accomplishments that we've achieved this last year. First of all, happy birthday to MESA. We are 1 year old. Yeah. In this time, we've recruited over 70 students, and we've also established a support team for STEM students here at BCC. We have 2 counselors. We have about 8 student workers, ambassadors, peer advisors, students that are supporting students so that they can achieve that goal of their STEM majors or STEM career so that they don't give up in that trajectory. We've also established a MESA club. We actually have a representative from the club here who I'll let him introduce himself in a bit.
We attended several conferences and several more are being planned. The most important one, the one that I mentioned in the video, I feel like you're just gonna hear a lot of what I already said. It's a SAGNAS conference. It was a conference with Chicano Latino students, STEM students, it's thousands of students. Like when I said massive, I really mean it. I was so tired and overwhelmed by the end, but it was so productive and valuable. I feel like even I myself learned a lot. And just to see all the MESA students come together, it was beautiful. I got the 30-second warning already. Thus far, in the MESA Center this semester, so about 6 weeks into the semester, we've had students over, they've been in our center for over 250 hours. So that's how much space the space is being used. The students are networking, having their lunch, they're like talking to each other. It's a large community and they're having a good time. And like I said in the video, my vision is that the experience here for MESA students is seamless, right? That all students feel welcome and supported at all the centers and that they feel that they can get their needs met regardless of BCC or another colleges or home campus. I hope that students feel like they're welcome at MESA. And I know we're out of time, but I'm just gonna let Alvaro talk a little bit. This is Alvaro, you saw him in the video too. Yeah.
Hello, well, as Armando said, my name is Alvaro, and I'm a MESA student and also a MESA ambassador since this fall that had just happened. So it's pretty recent, but I've been working at BCC for the past 2 years in multiple departments. And I just want to share that as a student worker and a student at MESA, I totally see the ambition and the will to support students at BCC and across the other campuses, because I've seen the great work Armando has done in contacting the other MESA directors across the other, not even Peralta, but also the other counties. So there's a lot of potential here. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carolina Martinez. I'm classified staff. I'm a student and equity and achievement coordinator. I am also the founder of the Undocumented Community Resource Center. We understand that our students have a unique need when it comes to navigating higher education, and especially now more than ever in this political climate. It is an honor to speak about the UCRC, a place that provides holistic support for all the students regardless of immigration status, and founded by undocumented students and advocates. We strive to create a safe space where students can access resources, find community, and succeed academically. Our Undocu Solidarity organizers presented the Solidarity Statement to our Academic Senate, Classified Senate, and Roundtable. We endorse the statement since the endorsement of the statement is been incredible to witness the flyers and resources posted visibility across campus. In solidarity with our undocumented scholars, BCC is committed to providing a safe and supportive environment for all the students, regardless of immigration status. We also commit to protecting the privacy and civil rights of undocumented students. Our BCC community is here to support the academic success and safety of our undocumented students. Something that I want to highlight is March 1st is our 8th anniversary of the Undocumented Community Resource Center. And I know at times it's sad, but I want to introduce my student club president of the Undocu Solidarity Club.
Hola, my name is Itlali, and this is my second year at BCC. I am majoring in psychology and sociology. I, along with other officers, founded the Undocu Solidarity Club, and I'm currently the co-president. Our hope and goal in creating this club is to be able to create a safe space, understanding, and fun space for for undocumented students and students from mixed status families. Additionally, through the Undocu Solidarity, we want to bring awareness to the documented community and experience as we share resources, support students through their journey towards reaching higher education. Thank you.
Good evening, Chancellor, esteemed members of Trustee Board, presidents, and guests. I am Dr. Joya Chavrin, the proud program coordinator of the Education Teacher Preparation Program here at Berkeley City College. Tonight, I stand before you with excitement and purpose because the work we're doing is transforming lives, shaping careers, and strengthening the future of education teacher preparation. Our program is designed to remove barriers and open doors to students who want to teach, lead, and inspire, whether in early childhood, expanded learning, which is before, after school, and out of school time programming, or K through 12 education. We know that exceptional teachers change lives, and at Berkeley City College, we are committed to preparing the next generation of educators. Ooh. But here's what makes us stand out. Our early childhood and education apprenticeship programs, the fact that we have them and we started in 2019 broke doors because we were one of the first sectors that are non-traditional to sit at the table with the Department of Labor, SEIU funding, and today we're able to celebrate over 360 apprentices who were able to graduate from Berkeley City and to transfer on to get their BA degree to work with children, which is really exciting. We're all about earn and learn. Thank you. We send them straight into the workforce, fully prepared and ready to make an impact. Our earn and learn model allows for us, our students, to have real hands-on experiences, and we're currently offering 3 apprenticeship groundbreaking programs funded by the California Apprenticeship Initiative grant. We have a youth apprenticeship or early childhood serving birth to 5, as well as expanded learning, apprenticeship program. All right, my time is up. With that, I want to say thank you. I didn't realize it was 2 minutes. I just want to thank you for all of your support and extend my gratitude, your leadership, and making this happen wouldn't happen without you. So let's keep building, aspiring, and transforming education one student, one teacher, and one classroom at a time. Thank you.
All right. Mic check. Hey, this time limit is like trying to write an autobiography in like a page and a half, but we're gonna do this. So it's an honor and privilege. Y'all see this blazer, by the way? It's a BCC brand. It's an honor and privilege, right, to represent our Society of Scholars learning communities where we serve hundreds of students. We're talking about our Umoja Scholars community. We're talking about our Puente project. We're talking about our AAPI leadership group. We're talking about our UCRC Undocumented Community Resource Center. We're talking about our Ignite communities. So we provide holistic, right, intentional support with our students, right? We meet them where they are at, and we provide services to and through BCC. We're not a one-year program. We're not a one-semester program, to and through. So from the time we meet you, we're gonna support you all the way towards your goals, okay? We believe in the motto, if it's in the best interest of students and our communities, if it's in the best interest of students and our communities, we are gonna stand up, we are gonna stand with you, we're gonna support you holistically, right? Meaning, if you come to those doors right there and you have a heartbeat and you are looking for a sense of community, you're looking for a sense of belongingness, you're looking for some support, you're looking for some guidance, regardless of where you're from, regardless of your background, regardless of your personal circumstances, right? We are here. We're going to stand with you unapologetically, and we're going to support you with your journey. We're here for you. So I don't know, you might flash that thing, but I'm gonna say this right here. These two students right here, I see the 30 seconds, I see you. These students right here have literally been on this campus for more than 10 hours today, right? So they're gonna speak tonight. Let me pass it over to Ashley first. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley, and I'm a third-year student here at Berkeley City College. My first experience with BCC was my senior year of high school, and thanks to that, I was able to meet our our Society of Scholar Counselors, which created an opportunity to have a community here at Berkeley City College, even though I was a high school student. I'm currently preparing to transfer, and I work with both BCC and Berkeley High School students in supporting and encouraging our future generations to pursue a college education. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Yardan. I'm from Tigray, Ethiopia. I'm a second-year student here at BCC. I discovered BCC through a dual enrollment when I was in high school. It was then that I connected with Skylar, a counselor who helped me realize that transfer pathway was suitable for me. Since I've been here, I've had an opportunity to connect with learning communities like Umoja and serve as a co-president of the East African Student Association Club. Umoja specifically has allowed me to make meaningful connections with peers and uplift my community. Looking back, coming to BCC was the best decision I've ever made. Thank you.
Good evening. We just wanted to thank all the people that made our showcase possible today.
Yeah, in addition to the people you see there, I'd also like to thank the Board of Trustees for all your support. Many of these initiatives, your votes have allowed us to obtain the funding and bring these projects to life. I want to thank our president for her leadership and of course our chancellor as well. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a long evening, so I don't think I have much more to say, but be safe, be strong. All this under one building.
Thank you. Everyone, you can see why I'm so proud, right? Thank you. It is not lost on us at BCC that these are difficult times for our country and for this district. So we thank you for your indulgence in allowing us to balance the feeling of difficulty with the feeling of responsibility to shine a light on the good things that are happening here at BCC. Thank you for your presence here and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Berkeley City College. Reports from the board?
So I want to just actually again, community thank again Dr. Richardson, our academic and classified Senate presidents here, our student leaders, and all of the student speakers who stayed late and came tonight, and the directors of these programs and our esteemed faculty members who came. Berkeley City College is such a treasure. You saw that last picture there of the building that's rising right over there, our West Campus. We're excited about that, but really want to just offer my deep appreciation to the entire team for being so hospitable to us, opening up this space, allowing us to move in, and allow us a real opportunity to do a tour of the campus and get a chance to be in community here in Berkeley. So thank you again, President Richardson, and to the entire team for your efforts tonight.
So I was a little bit premature. Item 5.2, our new district shared governance model. Chancellor, we are ready for the presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Board President. This presentation is going to provide background and overview of the process and newly adopted Peralta Community College District shared governance model. Through an iterative process, we worked, and I'm inviting the incredible leaders that I work with, Matthew Goldstein, Matthew Freeman, and Tashetta Henry to come up and help begin the presentation tonight. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'm Matthew Goldstein, one of the two Matthews here, along with Tashetta Henry and Tamil Gilkerson, of course. Didn't I say Matthew Freeman? Matthew. No, sorry, Matthew Freeman, Matthew Goldstein. I just want to say right off the bat that trying to strike the right tone tonight is really challenging, and I've talked to folks around the room about this. This is an upbeat presentation, and we're coming on the heels of another upbeat presentation after a very long night. So I just want to acknowledge that it's a tough time. I want to be optimistic about the words we're about to share with you. At the same time, we've seen some pretty unfortunate things in the last couple of hours. So just to acknowledge that, and please bear with our sunny tone as we present what, in fact, is something to be very optimistic about in the next little bit. So as we see here, we neglected to don our governance teas tonight, I'm sorry. But this is a quick history of the shared governance process that we've reinvented over these last several months. So you've heard me pound the podium here at board meetings in the past about the necessity of revisiting the shared governance model here at the district. When Chancellor Gilkerson came in a year ago, she embraced that challenge and led us through a very thoroughgoing revamping of the shared governance process. As it says on the slide, we had been working from a rough draft of a model for shared governance since 2017. It had gone unmodified through some 7 years. It was creating all sorts of dysfunction and unhappiness and inability to get anything done, frankly, via the shared governance process. So we set out this goal for ourselves of reinventing the process from scratch, essentially. So the process began in May of 24 when we convened a summit meeting involving all the constituent groups. As you can see, we had students, we had faculty, we had classified professionals, we had members of Local 39, administrators, and we sat down and tried to envision what an improved shared governance process would look like. As you can see, we had a number of framing questions, but the fundamental goal was to hear from the folks who make up the district about what they wanted from this new improved process. Next slide. I think this goes to Mr. Freeman.
I am Matt 2 in the Matt 2 conversation. Free and gold, golden free. Oh, free go. All right. I introduced myself earlier as the Academic Senate President here at BCC, but as I also noted, I teach political science and do a lot of work in organizing outside of the college, and was asked to participate in revisioning and reevaluating and really doing a lot of reflection with our colleagues on what governance looks like in Peralta and dreaming what it could look like moving into the future. And I'm very excited to be here with you all. And I'd like to thank our students and our presentations today that reminded me why I love the classroom, right? I mentioned earlier I was feeling twisted up a little bit about the emotions, and then the students came and spoke, and the Society of Scholars and my man Skylar came and spoke, and I started feeling that energy again and started thinking about hope and optimism and a better future and tomorrow. And so I'm feeling that again, and so my energy is a little different at this moment because that transition happened during those presentations, and I just want to call that out, and I hope people are feeling that transition, and it sort of reflects what we're trying to do with our shared governance here at Berkeley City College and in every single Peralta college and in our highest district level governance, which we're here to talk about, moving our college from spaces of isolation to a space where we share a vision, where we share our values, where we share our sense of governance together. And so it began, as Matthew Goldstein mentioned, in May, a little less than a year ago, right, where we invited leadership from every constituency group, administration, classified, faculty, and of course students, into a shared space where we could talk about what we had been doing, why it wasn't working, and quite frankly, why it had led to some of the conversations we had earlier tonight, right? And then staring hard into that mirror and visioning what we could do differently to radically change our district and to rethink about what participatory governance could look like if it was shared governance, and where we weren't just participants in a process, but we were sharing a design and sharing a story of us. And so we invited folks to the district office, and we started to have conversations, authentic conversations about our individual values and our callings to this work. And through that public disclosure, we began to find what brings us together. We wear different hats as board members, as student leaders, as faculty and administration, but only when we share in public spaces the values that call us all into these spaces do we realize that we're here together and that we actually are called to this work for the same collective reasons. And it really breaks down those silos and dismantles the assumptions that we make about each other in our respective spaces. And that became the foundation upon which we began to talk about what Peralta could look like moving forward and what our governance could be as a vehicle to transform this district and to transform governance in Peralta and maybe even beyond. And we think about student-centered participation. It began with a conversation about why we serve, and we began to realize that we are in this service space together. And we are in this service space, many of us, despite our different titles and despite our different positions, called into this space for the same reasons. And so we began to be very honest about our work. And we began to realize that our own stories that brought us into this work were actually a part of a larger fabric that we could weave into a collective story of us to move us from an individual call for action to a collective call for action to embrace the old ancient proverb of if not now, when, right? And if we are not here for ourselves, who will be? And if we are not here for ourselves alone, what am I, right? And so we've built a shared governance model that we think and we believe and we are hopeful and optimistic can be a vehicle to mitigate future challenges and to prevent these kinds of votes and these kinds of conversations from ever happening again. It's not a promise. And as a political scientist, we don't often talk about the possible, we talk about the probable. And I'm here as a believer in what we have built, and we are testing it. We're going to test this theory, and we are going to evaluate it, and we are going to assess it honestly, and we are going to make modifications along the way because the stakes are too real. And we have real skin in this game, and we want to make sure that what we do as a district and what we do as colleges and what we do as a community reflects the fierce urgency of the now as we begin to transition toward an application of this theory in real practice. And so with that, I wanted to turn things over to my colleague, Tashetta, who will talk a little bit about what that shared governance model looks like now as we begin to move toward implementation of the theory.
Thank you, everyone. I am so excited because I thought about what I would talk to you guys about, and I had this elaborate speech in my head of how I would present this, but it kind of moved on me to really go all the way back because I am a product of shared governance. I started as a student I started at Laney. I started at Laney, but ended up transitioning to Merritt College and pursued a degree in real estate, in which I got that. But I also gained knowledge of shared governance. And I want to really tell you guys what shared governance has done for me. I thought that I would speak on a classified level, but I want for everyone to understand that when you invest into your student from the ground up, you can build them up that they can come into shared governance and maybe even be classified or maybe be active members of your communities that they can serve on governing boards. You know, they can go out there and be CEOs. They can go out there and do a lot of things in life. But it starts from the ground up, and I am a product of that. I am a proud product of that. Yes, I represent my classified because now I am a classified member, but it took for individuals, my constituencies, my administrators, my faculty, my staff, classified professionals to inspire me, to motivate me, to activate my ability to use the voice that I thought that I never had, which ignited, as they say, the passion, the purpose, and the possibilities. I'm an example of a student that went through domestic violence where I did not have passion. I did not have a purpose. And I didn't see the possibility in what I was going through because I did not have a voice. But it took for my classified colleagues, it took for my faculty to really invest in me. It took for administrators that saw the good in me to inspire me, to lift up my voice, to be active and share governance at the campus level. It took even for some of my student leaders. I got onto ASMC because of another student leader. Hallelujah. That inspired me. Hey, we need senators. She inspired me as a colleague to say, hey, we need senators on here. We need to build up. And I was like, girl, I don't want to do this. I was like, I got enough on me. I'm raising 3 kids. I'm struggling. I don't got a job. I'm like, she was like, just come on. And because she reached out to me and inspired me to become active, I became active. And she presented that purpose for me that gave me passion to reach back to the students that we now serve, that we continuously serve. So it's about collaboration. It took for all of the constituencies, classified, faculty, staff, to all embrace me and to collaborate for my well-being as a student, to inspire me to be a leader, to meet the mission and the core values and the principles that each of the colleges have set forth. Even though I'm a graduate of Merritt, and I'm so proud of it, graduate alumni, hello, Panther all the day, you know, even though we was Thunderbirds then, you know, exactly, but still, you know, we can do it. But our key objectives is inclusive decision-making, including everyone at the table. Your perspective is not going to be mine. Mine is not going to be yours, but we have to think of as one body. We have different functions. We have different things that's going on. The arm is not going to function as the leg, as the blood, as the, you know, as the brain, as whatever. But if we bring it to the table and we understand the functions collectively and together, then we'll understand how the body works and how the body is structured and how we can move progressively forward. Transparency and accountability. We're not always going to get things right. Sometimes we're going to have to call out one another, but we have to be transparent and truthful in where we are. Responsiveness to community needs. Our communities are always telling us what they need through their data. When our students are walking through our doors, they're telling us what they need. I don't understand this. I don't understand how to enroll. I don't understand the forms and the processes. I don't understand why I got to go from this department to that department to that department to get a simple answer. They're telling us what they need. I don't understand this coursework. Faculty, can you use your time to explain what it is that I need so that I can grasp the knowledge that I need to pass the midterm that I need to pass? Promotion to academic excellence. That's what we're here for. To promote academic excellence, equity, and inclusion. We're all inclusive. We're all in this together. to create what? A sustainable, developed environment to sustain what is set forward. There's a term that says that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I want to go ahead of that. Even though it's not broken, you may not have to fix it, but you should always improve it even when it's not broken. So our goals is to strengthen everybody's understanding of a topic or situation, down from our students all the way up to our administrators. Our students are feeding us information, and it's going all the way up, all the way to our board, and on back down. Providing space for generating ideas and potential solutions. We should respect each other's ideas and come together to have that solution. What you think may not be what I think, but it can come together as a collective solution. Providing clear next steps. We should always have timelines and prioritize what it is that we need. This is what keeps us on track. Communication is everything. Resolution is everything. Decision-making is everything. We even have if y'all haven't checked, we even have a board policies that talks about how we govern one another, that we respect each other's decisions, that we agree to disagree. But yet we have to respect each other's perspective, but work together to resolve to a solution. And effectively using everyone's time. I don't want to be in 9,000.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good to Shetta. It's hard to follow that. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about the energy. It's about the inspiration. It's about moving from feelings to actions, right? And part of this collaboration is about making commitments to our community, right? And binding ourselves to these values as we move and take actions collectively. It's important that we not just think about our values and our commitments, but also our operating principles as a shared governance body, right? And so our system looks very differently than perhaps some governance models throughout the state of California. It's intended to be different. It is intended to be a challenge to the status quo that has held so many districts back from coast to coast. And perhaps Peralta can be a leader in radically transforming what governance means, what it can do, and what it can do moving forward across all of our different spaces. And so with that, I'm going to turn things over to the Chancellor, who can talk a little bit about, or President Goldstein, about how we are going to move through a different process of making decisions around consensus building, as opposed to like straight up and down yes or no votes that we're typically used to, right? So it's sort of an unorthodox way of thinking about how we build consensus to make decisions that doesn't necessarily fit into a traditional parliamentarian, as a poli-sci guy, thing I geek out about, model on governance.
Thanks. Thank you. So in fact, one of the things that drove the initial conversation about redoing the shared governance model was a number of questions around really concrete problems we faced in the committees. We didn't know what a quorum was. We weren't sure about the parliamentary procedure, whether in fact we were using Robert's Rules of Order. All these really fundamental things provided a great deal of heartburn to folks who were trying to work through the committee. So one of the early, I'm sorry. I could double up if that's helpful. So one of the major changes in the way we do business was simply to shift from a thumbs up, thumbs down model to these gradients of agreement. So we now have this more subtle way of articulating our feelings about a particular motion that comes before a committee. So it's a 1 through 5 system, with 1 being I'm all for it and 5 being I'm entirely against it. And if you don't support a particular motion, you're asked to explain yourself. So consensus is built via productive conversation among members of the committee. I should say that the Laney Senate has adopted this already, adopted it last year as soon as the idea was floated, and they've had great success with it. Next slide, please. So this next business about define, discover, dream, design, decide, and deliver, this nicely alliterative framework for doing our work, is a interpretation of the appreciative inquiry model. We're calling it appreciative engagement here. I should say that I did voiced some displeasure to Chancellor Gilkerson on the use of the alliteration, which is the cheapest poetic device, but
I love it personally.
but it does stick, and it is a helpful mnemonic. But the idea is that we're guided by a number of major principles as we work through the questions that inform the labors of the members of the committee. This one is close to the board's heart, of course, because it involves the calendar, and you'll recall that among the changes that were lobbied for by this group was a change to the board's meeting calendar so that decisions could be made in conjunction with, say, the faculty work schedule. And what you see here is how the work of the committees lines up with the work that you do here on the board, and we have a more sensible annual calendar. And we thank the Board of Trustees for making that adjustment to accommodate the work of the shared governance bodies. Oh, and finally, for me anyway, we have the org chart where you can see the layout of the committees as we've structured them. At the top, of course, is the Board of Trustees. Then we have the Chancellor. And underneath that is the District Planning and Budget Committee. That is now the topmost committee among the shared governance bodies. Replaced the PGC. Tashetta and I, of course, are still recovering from the trauma of being tri-chairs on the PGC. You'll see that there are five feeding back microphones. There are five major committees under the new model: District Facilities, Holistic Safety and Wellness, Student Success, and Enrollment Management, formerly DAS, District Technology, and then we have the PBC sitting on top of that. One note I want to make here, just in brief, is missing from this is the CIPD, which is the main curriculum body at the district level. So we have some work to do to figure out where that's going to sit in this entire model soon. I think I'll hand it over to Chancellor Gilkerson.
So I wanted to just take one step back. And I think one of the things that's really important is all of this came out of what my colleague said, their energy, their enthusiasm, but also just the pain points for the district. And some of that was around like orientation and onboarding. How do people know what the goals of the committee are? We don't even know what it is. How do we do that? So we've been very deliberate about building those pieces in to the new model in terms of the calendar. Identification of a collective goal. What we found was committees were working sort of, again, in silos, not working on the same question or process together. And so now really making a commitment to saying, what's the hairy inquiry question that we need to be addressing that would go across all of our committees and make us be really thinking about how we can do it? So how does technology impact what student success and enrollment management is saying? How does that impact facilities versus everybody sort of doing one piece and then somebody brings a recommendation and then it doesn't go anywhere because it hasn't been thought of across the groups. So these are really important key fundamental pieces that I think it is. So we just recently had our spring shared governance retreat, putting the model in action, as the free man just said, on spring shared governance retreat that we had. And it was really a very engaging day with a lot of our committee members there voicing, sharing particular things. But we really led out, and part of my role was to lead out and getting us to think about the question. And so left some of these inquiry questions and this sort of gets to the conversation we've had tonight and we've been having really since the beginning of this term and even before, which is, what would our colleges look like, right? These are some of the questions that we're putting forward to our governance groups to give us feedback about, right? Is saying, what if each college had areas of specialization? Are there opportunities to streamline our offerings? Where are there opportunities for us to grow? Having each committee develop a big, hairy, audacious question, and then taking the role of being a representative on those committees back to their constituency groups to get feedback and bring back so that the conversations are informed at the committee levels. And so each group had the opportunity to break out and review their committee charges and meet with their tri-chairs and then begin action planning on what their action plan was going to be for this semester around their inquiry question and actually how they were going to go and investigate and define and really come up with some recommendations that they would bring forward. So I wanted to end really with what came from that original retreat. I think some of these things that are really important, these is directly out of the mouths of our community. When we asked like what we could vision and what we wanted to do, we also realized what are the barriers, right, to us being able to actualize it. And addressing the silos was a huge one, right? All the ways that we have worked in silos together, this model is trying to dismantle those silos and begin to do work in a different way. Promoting communication, right? What we can do is that has always been a problem is communication. How do we each individually as representatives take our responsibility to communicate back to our constituency groups and bring that information back? So during some examination and then examination of our existing culture, it's been talked about tonight. Cultura is a huge part of what holds an institution back and also bridges it forward. And so this idea about non-judgment, the things that Tashetta talked about so passionately, engaging as equals, really getting to see each other and understanding expectations and how we can work together. This is what the community told us that they wanted this model to do. And so this is what has been designed and we are now in the implementation for. And we know trustees, when you hired me, this was one of the major things that you wanted accomplished. And I want to just offer again, this doesn't happen without, right, leadership support at all levels in this district and really deep engagement from our community who isn't standing here, but we're representing them, who gave their voice and their time and gave feedback back and forth to this. And so we will, again, grow and evolve and see how it works. But I am like Matthew Freeman, really thinking like this is not a model that's anywhere else in the state. I haven't seen it nationally. I do think this is a real opportunity for Peralta to really put our will behind something really beautiful and actually try and really live the values of shared governance for our community. So thank you so much.
Announcements and reports from our board members.
No.
Pardon?
Do you have any, are there any questions, trustees, or? No, there's no announcements tonight from the board.
I have one question, Chancellor.
Please.
Are you running for the Queen of Alliteration?
Passion, purpose, and possibilities. I could go on all night. And I just want to say that you're saying this on the heels of a new alley that says what? Envision, engage, and excel. So I think it might be in the water.
Do you have so no question?
I'll just say, can this be heard? No. All right, I'm just going to use my big voice. Is it on now? All right, it's on now. You know, when this board was going out to hire your position, there was one thing I wanted, and it was somebody who was a team builder, somebody who would honor and respect and value shared governance, not because it was a law, but because it made sense. And I think you've delivered. And obviously, it's not just you. It's this community wanted and needed this. So I'm just speaking for myself. I could not be more pleased. And especially given the timing, you know, Matt talked about like this coming on the heels of a very challenging earlier part of the meeting. And frankly, I think maybe that's appropriate because we need this. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. And without this ability to come together and have trust in each other and learn from our mistakes, we're done. So thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll just make a comment. I'm really excited to see this in practice. So thank you, Chancellor Gilkerson, for leading the charge on it. And I'm hoping to see good things. So thank you.
am so excited to see Peralta shine again in a totally different area. I think historically, we all know Peralta has had issues, and we've always known that Peralta was this incredible gem. And I feel like having this be at the statewide level, making clear and becoming the model for the state and then potentially nationally, I think that's really amazing and almost impossible. So I'm really excited to see this happen. And thank you all. Shadow, where are you? Thank you too, to Shadow. Okay.
Are there any other comments?
No, so no board reports tonight, trustee. I'm happy to close the meeting for you if you'd like.
Pardon?
I'm happy to close the meeting for you.
No,
if you'd
that's
like.
all right.
Okay.
So tonight we're going to close this meeting in honor of Victor Flint. And I'm going to have our two Berkeley representatives read the.
Tonight, we close this meeting in honor of Victor Flint, whose dedication and passion left a lasting impact on Berkeley City College and its students. As a mentor, leader, and advocate, he empowered countless students to dream big and achieve their goals in his role as Student Personnel Services Specialist at BCC from 2006 to 2013.
His work in outreach, civic engagement, and student support built a legacy of opportunity and inspiration. Victor passed away on February 5th, and while he is no longer with us, his influence remains in the lives he touched and the community he strengthened. Please join me in a moment of silence for this real prince of a human being. Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned.